Welcome back to a special edition of Powerslide TV. Today we're going to talk about frames for inline skates. Over a little bit of all the segments, the main focus, what we're going to look at is the manufacturing process, some different materials we use, and just generally what characteristics go with each one of the processes and materials.
So yeah, like Scott said, we start basically today with the aluminium frames because this is the most common frames. 99% on the market in inline skating is made of aluminium, and there's different processes what we can do. So the first process is a stamp process. Which is basically you found in the entry level, especially at the very entry level, and most other brands are using one piece frame. So they put it together, both sides, left and right, and then they rivet it together or connect it with a skate. We don't use those anymore. We only make like stamp frame and embossed basically as one piece. It's a little bit tricky because we still have the height raise. So it's actually a patented process. The advantages is basically it's quite fast to do because it's stamped out of one piece and then it's bended in different stages, and you can have all different shapes. Like we see here, we have also 3D shapes. So even it's like a bended material, which is about 3 to 4 millimeters thick, we still get a lot of stability and stiffness out of it and a quite good power transfer. So we still can see here we have the X slot, so you can still adjust front and back and all the other features. So different lengths available, 4x80, 4x84, 3x100, 3x110, everything. So we have the Unity frames in a lot of different sizes.
So just as an example, so when you see a skate with this frame mounted on it, you can know instantly, okay, that frame, it's going to be quite lightweight. Maybe it's not going to be the stiffest frame in the world, but you know it will be very comfortable and stable.
Right, and it's normally made out of a 661 aluminium, so it's an aircraft aluminium, so it's very stable and very stiff and good for power transfer. Because of its thickness, it's only be used basically with double axles, so both axles coming from both sides, so it's not used with single axles. So, but Scott said, lightweight, good performance, good price. The next step basically, it's casted frames, and the casted frames actually can be designed really, really well and really stiff and strong. So like we show here, we have a casted frame we call the Elite series, and basically all the designs is shaped around the wheel. So like this, we get a very, very stiff frame and very solid and still very light frame.
So you will see a lot of these frames, let's say on our swell models of skates or Fusion as well. Obviously these come in Trinity mounting, so you gain all the benefits from the Trinity mounting, so the stiffer platform, the more stable power transfer, and also the lower vibration. But again, this is I would say a newer process. What it allows us to do, as Matthias said, is get those more tricky shapes, which aren't just cosmetic, they also have function. So it's again, this is a frame which I would say would be more focused on comfortable performance, let's say.
But we're also making the casted frame as a high-end frame for racing, having their light casted frame in magnesium. So the good point of casted is, casted means you need to make a mold, and then inside the mold you put like the liquid aluminium and you will put it with pressure inside, so it gets the density gets really well. Same construction process like you do skateboard trucks, which are known to be very durable and very strong. And then actually you can heat treat them too, so you can make them stiffer and stronger by the special heat treatment. And the good thing is in the same mold, normally you can use also in cast magnesium, which is about 30% lighter, so gives you a lot of performance advantages, but also is a little bit more difficult, more brittle, so you have to handle it a little bit more carefully.
And this is something we've obviously done a lot of research and development on over the years, because like Matthias said, it needs to be handled very carefully. It's not just a case of slapping it on and away you go. So a lot of R&D and things like that went into these frames.
And the good thing with a casted, we can already use a single axle. So you're faster to change the wheels, and it's easier to rotate wheels and, disassemble them. Also with a casted, we're having some slots on the top, so you can see where it's mounted. So when you're adjusting your X slot, you know already where it sits, and you have like a little marks and can always put it same time again if you rotate or change the wheels or change the frames. One thing also, even if it's casted, there's still some CNC process going into the frames to make sure they're 100% correct and 100% stable. So you can see we are seeing of the top platform, so they're really flat and stable. And even the bearing bosses inside, they are still using CNC to make sure everything is flat and the wheels are spinning perfectly well and straight. Lots of different sizes available in magnesium, super light, and also in aluminum for the casted frames.
So yeah, then moving up, let's say, into the more higher end or racing or higher end urban free skate frames, we move into extruded, so an extrusion process, which is mainly designed for maximum stiffness. So with, let's say these frames are a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more forgiving and things like that, but these ones are really designed for maximum stiffness and power transfer. So moving at the first price point is this one. Right?
Yeah, that's basically a kid's frame, which is coming on our chat skate. So it's like an extruded profile. It's a simple U profile. So it's quite easy to extrude and quite simpler to CNC also. So that's more for the kids. So to give them a really good value, but still very good for playing hockey, for doing urban, for doing all kind of tricks. And it still has a slot so we can adjust them side to side so kids can find the perfect balance. And with all the frames, even like the casted, we have the built-in place where you always can put your brake, basically.
And then we also have a very similar frame, a very similar extrusion process for our Powerslide X frame. So again, has the slots, single axle. So it's that's kind of the first step into extrusion frames.
Actually, this we call like a U-shape extrusion, so it's very simple. And this with 2 layers, the top layer and then the front layer, we call a single layer extrusion, basically. And then the higher and more better frames actually use a double extrusion. So which means the back and the front layer, and then have another bridge somewhere in the middle, which gives more stability and more rigidity. So this actually makes the frame stronger and stiffer and transfers the power better and more equally.
And then you move up into, let's say, our Triplex racing frame collection, which is probably it is the best aluminium racing frame on the market. Main focus with this and this manufacturing process is stiffness. Guys like Bart Swings and Felix Reinen and those guys, they just want maximum power transfer in that toe area to ensure that all of their training and all of the hard work is going into the ground. They don't want it to be folding away. So therefore you can see it's a very tricky extrusion. So it's basically from all 3 sides. And then again, like with all frames, this one actually has a little extra feature on the top. It is ready for our pitch and stride control. So you may or may not have seen a video on that. So again, we a little bit more CNC work there. But as you can see, massive hole cutouts here to also offer just that little bit of comfort and things too.
That's also, the name comes from the triple X, because we have an X inside for the extrusion. So it's not just a normal layer, but the X, and it makes it actually a little bit more stiffer and stronger. And then walking to the next one, like the Icon, it's like almost like machined out of one block. So it's a huge extrusion, a really high one. And then from this big extrusion, basically everything else is CNC'd out. So it's a lot of CNC time, a lot of CNC work. So it's more expensive to produce it. But then you have a lot of features like really nice 3D shapes, similar like to a casting process. So like you can see, this basically was the father of the little one, casted one. So we know all the benefits we get out of CNC frame, which this kind of process we also wanted to have like in the casted one. So this is a bigger extrusion and it takes more work, but then we can also shape it like we want in 3D.
So yeah, that is let's say a really quick overview of all the processes which we do for aluminium frames.
Maybe just because you put this here for color because you like it. This is just to show you a little bit, you know, with aluminium, later it's anodized, especially the extruded one, and you can do a lot of different colors in anodization. So like every color you want. And for example, this is black, and after the black anodization, we cut out again some pieces with CNC and some laser prints. We get a dual color, and this actually is a dual color also. So first you do it black, then you cut it out, and then you do another one in anodization with red, so you get a dual color look like this. So there's a lot of possibilities play around with look, but this is not really to do with the function. But as skaters, we always want to look good too on the skates, and we want to like this, the frames match to our boots and match to our frames, so we don't look as goofballs when we're skating outside and passing the bikers.
All right. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions on frames, we're answering as many questions as we can. So just drop them down in the comment section below. And remember, we love to skate.